A record entry for the GB4 Championship as we come to Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, and 6 of the GB4 Championship, the second weekend of the season, and similar to the first weekend of the season at Oulton Park just a few weeks ago, conditions are going to be a big talking point. Very, very cold today. It is dry out on track, but it could be wet tomorrow. Welcome everyone. This is a circuit that a lot of our drivers are coming to for the first time, and many of them would have been watching their heroes in racing around here in Formula One, and now they get to take it on themselves and try and get on that podium just up there. Well, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic weekend of racing. I'm sure we've got plenty of races coming up, 3 coming up this weekend, 1 coming up for you this afternoon. Before we get into that, let's have a look back at what happened when we went racing for the first time this season at Oulton Park just a few weeks ago.
Highlights from the first race of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. An excellent start off the second row of the grid, but it was Alicia Palmovsky leading down into the first corner. Harry Burgoyne Jr. stealing his way through into second spot with a bit of a squeeze on Finn Harrison running through that first turn. Finn Harrison would have to drop back into third position. McCacken having a bit of a struggle on that race start, not quite getting it done from pole position, dropping back to fourth position as it was Elite, KMR Sport, Elite and then KMR Sport. But Finn Harrison was on the attack, trying to fire his way up the order, getting to the outside and nearly stealing his way into second position. A big lock up though from Dan Hickey, who would send his way through the escape road down at Hislop before working back out onto the racetrack. This contact though between Harry Burgoyne Jr. And Finn Harrison would leave a bit of damage on Finn Harrison's car, squeezed out a little bit wide and then it removing the underside, effectively just ripping the floor straight off where the plank is. Palmovsky though coming through the final corner was absolutely dominant throughout the entire opening race and would take victory in the opening round of the season. Second race in the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, started with a big issue, unfortunately for Alicia Palmovsky. After a victory on Saturday's race, she would stall on the race start and drop to the back end of the top 10. It was an excellent conversion though by McCacken from the race lead. Harry Burgoyne Jr. though was having to deal with the charge of Finn Harrison down to the first corner, was unable to work his way past. Meanwhile, a bit further down the order there was plenty of drama. Unfortunately, a bit of a spin from Jack Taylor, who would drop back right over the nose of Megan Bruce and would drop down the order, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the battle for second position was absolutely on. Harry Burgoyne Jr. defending from Finn Harrison. It was a mistake from Burgoyne Jr. going into the second corner of the racetrack that would cost him second position. Finn Harrison working his way past and taking over that spot whilst he was setting fastest lap. Pebble first, Pebble second sector. He would have this incident and was fuming with himself. It would cause a red flag, and unfortunately Finn Harrison would drop right the way down the order. Dan Hickey involved in a really important fight here with Dia Noreen towards the back end of the top 10. Dia Noreen would go for a bit of a spin right in front of the race circuit as Marcus Luzio would fight his way past. Big slide coming in from McCacken, as we saw so many times throughout the race, as he absolutely dominated proceedings. Harry Burgoyne Jr. in second spot, and Brandon Templeton also taking his first podium of the season with a third place finish for the Fox Motorsport team. Highlights from the final race of the GB4 weekend, as there would be a staller in the background. Baxter unable to get going, but would eventually restart the car. Would then have to close up to the rear end of the field. It was a great start though from Dan Hickey, leading down into the first corner. A couple of looks from the likes of Finn Harrison in the background as they all try and work their way through. Jack Taylor as well getting a bit caught up in the middle of all of this though. McCacken going into the island bend would have a bit of a moment here as you watch him just run out a little bit wide, clip the grass, and was unable to find any grip on the slick tyres with the very, very wet grass. Would become stationary. Megan Bruce and Granfors coming into contact going into the Shell Oils corner, sending Granfors up the road. He was able to keep the car going again, and once the safety car had come out, it had come back in again, and we were back racing with a lot of hard charges up and down the order. Race leader Dan Hickey checking out into the distance. Massive double front tyre lockup would open the door for Grant to come straight through and take over the race lead. Going through the Shell Oils corner a bit later on in the race, there was plenty of drama. Marcus Luzio out wide, as well as Finn Harrison, who had become stationary. Dia Noreen down the inside trying to get past Palmovsky, but just a bit of contact between the pair of them would send them off and into the grass. The pair of them will remain stationary and will be out of the race. Move to the inside though, Granfors would take over the race lead from Grant with a move on the final lap into the first corner. An excellent race victory for Granfors ahead of the two KMR Sport drivers.
3 different winners at the first round from the 3 different races. The atmosphere building up down here in the pit lane. Welcome everyone to Silverstone. Just under 30 minutes to go before we have our first race of the weekend. I'm your host, Chris McCarthy. In the box we have Piers Fryer for the weekend. Naomi Newman's going to be reporting for us. And Piers, a great weekend of racing to kick us off for the season. 3 different winners there: Alicia Palmowski, Brandon McCacken, and Linus Grandforce as well. So great to have 3 different winners to kick off for us for the season.
There was an action-packed start to the season. You know, Alton Park is supposed to be a track that's hard to overtake out where, you know, not much racing happens. And hey, we had plenty, didn't we? And I'm looking forward to seeing these GB4 cars race around this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, because we always have good racing here.
Tough conditions for them as well at Alton Park. We had some great slow-mo shots which we were admiring there on our screen as we were watching them back. We could see more of the same. I mean, it's a dry track now. That might not be the case tomorrow, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's changeable conditions, and actually, just as you said that, I felt a drop of rain on my forehead. So, so yeah, we could see some changeable conditions throughout this weekend. Maybe in this race, maybe not. But you know, they had a bit of a baptism of fire at Alton Park with those changeable conditions and no margin for error at Alton, as we saw. Finn Harrison was right up there in all 3 races and had 3 DNFs.
Well, let's just quickly, before we go on to what we go to next. GB3 was out earlier. They had a lot of tyre wear. Is that going to be the case, do you think, in GB4 as well?
Less so, I think, in GB4. GB3 and GB4 run the same tyres, but of course the GB3 cars slightly heavier, more power, much more aerodynamic grip, so they work the tyres a huge amount harder. The issue in the GB4 race, I think, is going to be actually getting the tyres up to temperature as opposed to them falling away at the end of the race, because it is still freezing.
Yeah, I think so, and we can add on to that even more. Cars coming into the pit lane. Well, as I said, it's a joint record entry this weekend of 16 drivers. And I think part of the reason of that is the prize money that we have up for grabs. A great initiative that was launched this weekend by Ginetta and MSV. A joint scholarship, £50,000 prize that will be given to the Ginetta Junior Champion to go racing in the GB4 Championship next season. We see a lot of drivers coming through the Ginetta Junior Championship to go racing in GB4, and now the champion will be given £50,000 overall in GB4, Piers. We have £125,000 up for grabs, which is absolutely fantastic. The champion will be given £50,000, the lead female €30,000, and then the Ginetta Junior £30,000. I think that's why we're seeing this joint record entry.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as a young driver, most young drivers in this category are trying to find budget to go racing. We all know racing's expensive. I mean, racing something around the track, it's just a fact of motorsport, unfortunately. Therefore, any financial help you can get is going to be a step forward, and especially if that financial help is coming from the championships you're already racing in.
And one of those new drivers is Bas Visser. He's come up from rental karting. He's going to be trying to get his hands on that money. Let's go and hear from him now. Bas Visser, great to meet you. Welcome to the championship. Of course, you joining us with Graham Brunton racing at round 2. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because you're coming into the championship with a background maybe a little bit different to some other people. Of course, a lot of people coming maybe with karting championships, national or European. You've come with a bit of a different one. Tell us about yourself.
I'm coming from 1 year of karting, actually. 1 year of rental, and last year 1 year of rentals, and just trying to get into the car sport, actually, and just that's it.
So what attracted you to race in GB4? Was it something you'd seen, or with the car? Tell us a little bit about what attracted you to GB4.
Yeah, we have tried to get into GB4 because that's you can learn a lot in this championships, and that's why we've done it. But GB4 was a bit too high, too expensive, so we have tried to get GB4.
Tell us your first impressions of the car then. How are you finding it to drive so far? Enjoying it?
I enjoyed really to drive the car. A lot of power on it, and also the tires. Yeah, comfortable, and yeah, really nice to drive this car.
The track. Now, I know you're a Lando Norris fan, as we were talking about just there. How is it getting out on Silverstone for the first time, somewhere you'd seen Lando go around as a Formula One driver, a podium finish around here? How is it driving those same turns yourself for the first time?
It was just, I went out and I said, wow, this is mega. this track is mega. Going to Maccas for the first time, going into Cops, it was just mega to drive here. Actually, it's one of my favorite circuits on the calendar, and it was mega to drive here.
Any corners in particular when you first turned for the first time that really made you sit back in the seat?
There was just first time getting into the F1 turn 1, the Silverstone GP turn 1. That was mega to drive there with the aero and with the tires. It was pretty nice.
I imagine watching Formula One and then turning those same corners must be quite a surreal experience for a young driver.
Yeah, really. Just to see them driving around, and now I'm driving here. So that's quite different, but it's really nice.
Of course, you're here with us for round 2, looking now to raise the funds, you were saying before, to join us for the rest of the season. So I imagine hoping for a good weekend there, and then the plan to stay with us for the season.
Yeah, maybe we will look into it, and hopefully we can go for the full season if the budget can get it. But yeah, I like the team, I like the championship really. So yeah, I can't wait for the races for tomorrow.
As you picked a very good circuit to join us, you picked a great team as well. You're in safe hands. Good luck for the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Good to hear from Baz Smither there. Will be looking to get his hands on some of that prize money. Currently leading the way and trying to get his hands on some of the money we've got up for grabs for the championship. Harry Burgoyne didn't get on the top step of the podium, but was on it all 3 times. Two second place finishes and a third. Linus Gramfors also got on the top step. He's second in the championship. Brandon McCacken had that DNF, but third place in the standings. Brandon Templeton fourth. Alicia Palmovsky in 5th place. Any surprises to you? It's hard to really assess championship standings, isn't it, after a first round? I think just putting points on the board is what it's about in these early stages.
Yeah, especially considering we've got 2 such different circuits at the first 2 events of the season. Alton Park, narrow, twisty, a lot of undulation, not many overtaking opportunities. Silverstone Grand Prix, where we are now, where we've got rounds 4, 5 and 6, very open, very high speed, very flat, and a lot of slipstreaming action. So, you know, after round 6 tomorrow, we'll have a better idea of where the championship stands, I reckon.
And Chloe Grant ended as well with a podium. That's going to give her a lot of confidence. She didn't have a lot of track time coming in. Of course, she was recovering from an injury as well after the crash she had in F1 Academy. So that would have given her some confidence coming in.
Oh, certainly. And yeah, she raced in this championship, not last year, but the year before. So, you know, she's getting reacquainted, but obviously racing with a different team now. So, you know, she's going to probably keep moving her way up the grid, and yeah, good to see her back on the grid as well.
Well, one driver who is visiting this track for the first time and would have watched his hero Lewis Hamilton racing around here and taking many wins around here and having a famous incident down at that corner just there is Mayor Dionorine. We caught up with him yesterday about what it was like to drive this circuit for the first time. Let's go and hear from him now. Mayor Dionorine, welcome to Silverstone. Of course, your first time here. This a track, like many drivers, you'll be very familiar with, having watched Formula One growing up. First of all, how does it feel to be at Silverstone?
It feels amazing to be here in the paddock, let alone on the track. It's a great experience for me, I think, because it's good to learn new tracks every now and then, especially with coming from Alton that I've never driven at. Being here now is good to learn and see, I would say, a different type of track almost, because of how high speed it is compared to Alton. And the racing here is going to be insane for me, I think.
When you walk the track for the first time, tell us which bits stood out to you the most about this circuit.
For me, it was the walking. I was getting tired after a couple corners. It's a long walk, but some things that stood out to me was different from when I watched the last F1 race. There were some gravel traps that were new that I just had to look at and know, okay, we can't push too much in this corner, but in some other corners we could. There was a couple of cheeky almost spots on the track where you could gain a little bit of time. Still trying to figure those out, but I think once we can figure those out, we'll be closer to the front of the pack.
Let's go to the driving then. How was it coming around the likes of Copse for the first time and through Maggots and Beckett's? Tell us what that experience was like.
It was incredible. I was kind of thinking the first time I went through there of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton's crash, and I said, I'm sending it if somebody turns in. That's their fault. Yeah, it was great, especially through Megas and Beckett's though. Like your body is getting thrashed around side to side, and it's a lot to get used to. But once you get used to it, it's pretty good.
Well, let's come on to Lewis Hamilton. You mentioned him, and you carry the number 44 on your car by choice. I know he's a real inspiration for you, which I'm sure makes this experience to Silverstone even more special for you.
Yeah, he's definitely a mentor for me because of the way he grew up. It was very similar to me. I would say he had a lot more challenges than I had. Obviously, his dad working really hard to keep him in motorsports, and my dad keeping me in motorsports and always working hard. And I think it's a compelling story that I have. I wouldn't say matching Lewis Hamilton, but it's definitely a story that is similar in the likes of we were working really hard to keep myself racing, so did Lewis. And it's cool to be at the same tracks that he grew up racing at and now is racing in Formula One.
Similar to Lewis, you had your first single-seater race in the UK at Alton Park, and now you're second at Silverstone, so you really are on a similar track. But also you're working with NXG Youth Motorsports as well, who are attached with X44, which Lewis Hamilton works closely with. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, NXG is a youth organization that allows young drivers from all different backgrounds to be able to have a career in motorsports, or not just the driving portion of things, but let's say the engineering. Because you see here, there's 3 cars under my tent, but there's probably 40, 30 mechanics under here. It's very difficult to be the driver, and the engineer or the mechanic is a little bit more real for some people that are getting into it a little bit late. But that's what they help people with, usually engineering side of things.
And how has it been working with them, and also racing in the US as well? Because I know you've got some pretty exciting races over there, and you're going to some pretty exciting tracks over there with IndyCar. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, working with NXG is a really good experience for me. I've gone to a couple of different tracks to help out with the coaching side of things for some of the drivers, and the racing along IndyCar is incredible to me. Like, I'm here racing at Silverstone, but when I'm on track at the IndyCar events, it's crazy to say I've been on a track that IndyCar's been at, and I've been on a track that F1's been at. So it's crazy that I've been at so many different tracks, and it's a great learning experience for me to be at so many different tracks throughout the year.
You had the choice of either being an IndyCar support race this weekend or Silverstone. You chose Silverstone GB4. I want to end by talking about what's on the front of your crash helmet there, Change the World. It's how we ended the trailer to your documentary, which is currently being filmed. Just tell us a little bit about that phrase and why you carry it on the front of your crash helmet.
Well, change the world can mean a lot to different people. They can take it as, I want to change the world in the sense that everybody doesn't have to work anymore, or other things. But I take it as, I want to change the world of motorsports by allowing youth of all different backgrounds to be able to become a successful driver or engineer, to be a part of motorsports in the sense that you can work in anything you want to, but make sure that there is diversity, and that's what Change the World means to me, to allow everybody to have a good career in motorsports.
Well, that's a good point to end on. The number 44 has been very successful here around Silverstone, and Mayor, we wish you all the best this weekend.
Thank you.
Fantastic to hear from Mayor D'Honorino, who's having a documentary made about him, as we heard in that interview. So do go and follow him to check more details out on that. Now, one thing Mayor, myself, Piers, and I'm sure many of you all have in common is we are racing heroes. We're all Lewis Hamilton. So Piers, with your racing hero being Lewis Hamilton growing up, how was it going out on this circuit for the first time and turning those corners?
It's awesome. One of the best circuits in the world, no doubt. Such high speed, such a thrill, and in one of these single-seaters, it really just feels like you're flying a plane.
All right, it's going to get very, very loud in here very soon. All these cars are about to come piling into pit lane. So with that, we heard about the circuit, what it was like to drive it. Let's hear what this man has to say about it there, shall we? Here's a track guide from Piers Pryor.
Let's have a look at the track. Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, some of the most famous corners in the world, the awesome Maggots and Beckett section, and also Stowe completely committed, and then Vale and Club, Again, very, very high speed, average over 115 miles an hour in the dry, very wide, plenty of overtaking opportunities and a lot of slipstreaming. It's going to be good racing this weekend throughout all 3 of the races, including that reverse grid race in race 3. 18 turns for the drivers to tackle, and it's a long lap around here, 3.66 miles, about 5.9 kilometers of running, one of the longest laps this year. Not much elevation change, only 11.3 meters, but plenty of camber changes throughout the lap to keep the drivers on their toes. And that is the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Let's ride on board Arden's driver Leon Wilson on a lap around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in the GB4 car. Slightly damp conditions for this lap, so he'll be using some slightly different lines to the dry, staying away from the normal racing line and the entry of cops. Watching track limits on the exit, you can see the car moving around on the slippery paint. Now, Maggots and Beckett's, world famous, still very fast even in these damp conditions, carrying a lot of speed through the first apex and then sliding the car around through the middle of the left-hander. Now we're just about setting up for the exit of Chapel because there's a very, very long straight coming up. Hanger straight. This is a point in the lap where you can take a moment to relax, breathe, and in the race there'll be lots of slipstreaming, potentially lots of overtaking here as well. You can see Leon just staying to the inside, trying to keep his tyres cool for the entry of Stowe. Nice and sideways through the entry there, soaring away at the wheel, trying to find the grip, and just about finds it enough to not run wide on the exit. Track limits on the exit there is going to be crucial. Do that too many times in the race and you'll be getting a penalty. Now Vale, nice and slow through the apex, keeping it left to open up the right of Club. Again, track limits on the exit will be watched there by the stewards. Now we've got a long run towards the past the wing and towards the turn 1 for the Formula 1 race, but in this it's halfway around the lap. We're going to do a slight lift and a rub of the brakes in the wet conditions, in the dry, almost completely flat out through there. Now this is all about setting up the entry of Village. Very, very open, very wide overtaking opportunities, braking and turning, very technical. You can see the car moving around, and then the clumsy corner, the loop. Staying off the racing line once again to get good traction on the exit. We've got another long run all the way down to Brooklands. Flat out as we flick left through Aintree, and again you'll see Leon pulling to the left-hand side just to try and cool his tyres down. Keep those blocks nice and cool so that the tyres don't fall away towards the end of the lap. Braking late and then turning once again into Brooklands, staying off the racing line once again. The track is really greasy through this final sector. We're then heading deep and wide through the middle of Luffield to try and get some good traction. Not worrying about the second apex as we've got a good exit here. Again, watching the track limits on the exit. Only one corner to go, Woodcote, which is completely flat in all conditions, and that's a lap in the GB4 car around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
And welcome down to the assembly area where the cars are getting ready to go for the first race of the weekend. On pole position here we have Finn Harrison. Piers, this is the moment now, the driver's final words of encouragement. It's going to be a bit cold out there, so I imagine getting the tyres up to temperature will be crucial, but Finn here, of course, tricky first round for him, wasn't it? Just didn't quite go his way, so I imagine for him it will be getting those points on the board now.
Yeah, I mean, it shows how fine the margins are in motorsport and in the GB4 Championship when, you know, 3 mistakes, none of them even that big, ended 3 of his races, so he comes into this round with 0 points. But now, of course, turned it around, put it all back to rights by putting it on pole position for race 1 and race 2, and he's going to be hopefully kicking off his championship campaign from here. Yeah, 3 DNFs unfortunately, but Finn has proven that's not gone to his head at all. Really great performance, a really mature performance. Linus Granfors starts alongside him there on the front row. We're going to, I think, maybe say goodbye to you, Piers, because I think you have to go and get in commentary position. Thank you as always for your insight, Piers. Linus Granfors starts alongside him on the front row. Then on row number 2 we have Leon Wilson over there in the 27, starting alongside Alicia Parmovsky, a winner in round number 2. Can she go and repeat that now? She was a winner, of course, at Alton Park. Can she become a winner here at Silverstone? Some of these drivers would have raced this circuit in Ginetta Juniors, maybe on the national layout. They may be racing this circuit for the first time on the Grand Prix layout. That whistle means that we are going to go racing. And with that, very shortly, we will hand back
back up to the commentary. You can see the cars making their way out onto the circuit now. It is time to go racing in the GB4 Championship, and with that, I'll head up to the commentators, Piers and Max.
Here we are for round 4 of the GB4 Championship. Last time out we were at Alton Park, now Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. After Silverstone, we're going to be heading to Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, and then we're off to the Snetterton 300, a great circuit for these cars, before heading back to Silverstone Grand Prix, rounds 13, 14 and 15. Then Donington Park once again, well acquainted with the circuit by the end of the season, and then we end the season at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. Oh no, we don't. No, we do. End the season at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. But the concentration, of course, this weekend is Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. What a circuit to be racing at. Really suits these GB4 cars. And in previous seasons, we've seen some excellent racing. And let's have a look around the circuit. Of course, opened in 1948. Maggots Beckett's is a world famous corner down the Hanger Straight, where we've seen slipstreaming overtake so many times. The last sector, of course, as well, plenty of overtaking opportunities. And then, of course, that rounds out the lap. Lap record stands at Tom Mills from last season at 2:01.1 seconds, 18 turns around this Silverstone Grand Prix layout. A really good challenge for the drivers. 3.66 miles, 5.9 kilometres. Only 11 metres of elevation change, so fairly flat, but plenty of camber and challenging corners for the drivers to tackle. Someone who's very familiar with this circuit is alongside me, Max Maserati, who raced in the GB4 Championship previously. Max, just talk to us about what it's like to drive one of these GB4 cars around the circuit, and also in race conditions.
It is amazing. This is one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. When I did it, I think that showed, and I did it with Hill Speed back in the day. We had an amazing car around here. It was so much fun to drive. It's just one of those circuits that it just gives and gives. The rhythm of it is just amazing. The flow of it. I mean, that first sector is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Let's run through the grid as it stands. It's Finn Harrison on pole position, making amends for his tricky first couple of rounds. Alongside him, Linus Granfus. Then on the second row of the grid, we have Leon Wilson with a great qualifying for Arden. And alongside him is Alicia Pomorski for Elite Motorsport. Then in 5th position, Callum Baxter for Graham Brunton Racing. And then Brandon McCacken, race winner from round 1, in 6th position. Then round 7, 7th on the grid is Harry Burgoyne. Alongside him, returning driver Chloe Grant for KMR Sport, and all KMR Sport row number 4. Row number 5, the number 44, Maya Dionorine, who we heard from a moment ago, Graham Brunton Racing. And then 10th, Jack Taylor for Fortec Motorsports. Marcus Luzio and Dan Hickey are on row 6. Then that is next up is Brandon Templeton for Fox Motorsport, and alongside him, returning driver again, Christian Lester for his he's taking part in his 3rd season, not full seasons. And then on the final row of the grid, we have Megan Bruce for Fox Motorsport, and a new driver for this weekend, Bas Visser for Graham Brunton Racing. Bas having very little car racing experience, in fact, very little racing experience compared to many of our drivers, so he'll be hoping to learn a lot this weekend and move his way up the grid as potentially we continue on. And we good to see him back on the grid. But Max, we were talking in the GB3 race not long ago about tyres, getting tyres up to temperature and then keeping them warm. Is going to be a thing. In GB4, it's a lot harder to get the temperature into the tyres. Talk to us about what the drivers are going to be concentrating on this formation lap, because even though the race hasn't started, it kind of started from the moment they left the assembly area.
Yeah, so usually whenever you have a qualifying run or when you're going out and testing, you normally give it at least half a lap of braking and accelerating to get some heat into the core of the tyre before then introducing weaving. Because it rained this morning, everyone's now going out on completely new sets, which means that whole window is going to be condensed, and that's where you then have more potential for cold graining. So the guys who can really focus on bringing in the core initially, it's going to really pay off. But there's going to be a bit of a swings and roundabouts effect of do you go a bit easier on the tyre to then come in. But you know, with the GB4, they haven't got enough downforce. It's not like they're going to come in straight away when you push. So,
Yeah.
or do you go, okay, I'm just going to focus on that, knowing at the end of the race it's going to be heavily grained, but the rain tomorrow won't matter. We're going to throw away this set. You know, it's.
A reminder, in the GB4 Championship, only 6 brand new slick tyres are able to be used over the race weekend for qualifying and the 3 races. If you do use any wet tyres, you can use effectively as many sets as you want to, but then you can save those fresh slick tyres for the remaining races. So if we do only have any wet races tomorrow, which is likely that we'll have at least one, it seems like that's the pattern here at Silverstone. Pretty much every year we almost always get a race cancelled. Hopefully not this year though, with the rain set to be just showers. But we're all lining up on the grid now for what will be round 4 of the GB4 Championship. I'm looking forward to a good race. Interesting to see that Linus Gramfors has actually allowed a couple of feet off the back of his grid box, so making sure that he doesn't get a penalty, as does Alicia Palmoski. But here we are, lights are on, the revs rise, and once these lights get extinguished, we're away for round number 4 of the GB4 Championship, and it looks like a good start from pole position. Oh, we got a stall in the background. That's Brandon McCacken, who's not managed to get away, and he's been missed by everyone, so good driving from everyone around there. Good start for Finn Harrison from pole position, leads us through turn 1 at Copse, and it looks like in second position, if I can just see that. Yeah, that is Linus Gramfors, so we've still got fighting for the lower places, but a great start from the front 2 on the front rows. Oh, Harry Burgoyne Jr. in the blue and grey KMR Sport driver cuts across the inside of the Maggots and Beckett chicane and comes back ahead of Alicia Palmoski. I think that's where he was initially, and we're looking at the number 48 there. That is Visser, but a breakaway from the front 2.
That's a mixture of cold tyres and dirty air we're seeing there. Marcus seems to have made up a couple places as well, and he's attacking again. And that's a big lock-up on the inside. Amazing move, getting it stopped.
Yeah, great move from Alicia Palmoski, sending it up the inside. Big lock-up on the inside. Shouldn't hurt the tyres too much this early stage, but Alicia continuing that good run, looking around the outside of Leon Wilson. Leon Wilson was struggling with some oversteer. Palmoski's going to go for a cutback and does it successfully on the exit of club. That's a great first lap from Alicia Palmoski after what wasn't the best start. She's now into 3rd place.
What a charge. That is really, really good racing from her to be moving up. Definitely taking some from Janetta Juniors there.
Yeah, definitely. And we've also got Chloe Grant in the KMR Sport car, the number 66 of Chloe Grant was also looking to make up a position there on the back of her teammate, Harry Burgoyne Jr. Now, Max, I know that you know Harry very well. You were coaching him last season, I believe. You know, he's moved to a different team this season. He's come on a long way. But, you know, racecraft is never his issue. He's done a lot in karts, but, you know, it's just getting all the techniques of the cars up to speed that is, he supposes, you have to learn as you move into cars like a GB4 Championship. Actually, that is Marcus Luzio, the number 11, who's going up the inside of Chloe Grant. So Marcus Luzio moving up. Privateers, we have a lock-up from Leon Wilson, who goes deep but doesn't lose the space, and that is Luzio through. Luzio in the number 11, completely blue car there. He's racing as a privateer, so great to see a privateer doing so well.
He's as a privateer, but he's actually been in the Hill Speed awning this race weekend, so you know he's had access to my data. I've been coaching him, and you know we've helped him as much as we can. Hill Speed have done a great job with him, and here we are. Look, he's pushing on the back now, doing great.
Yeah, now Harry Burgoyne Jr. up the inside of Leon Wilson. Wilson goes wide, and Harry gives him a squeeze, saying, you know, you are not holding the outside line, but great to see. It's something I didn't know, that the Lizio.com team are now in association with Hill Speed, so Max, clearly your efforts are going towards helping them as well, and Harry Burgoyne doing a good move. So the order after the first lap now stands as Harrison in the lead, half a second over the line ahead of Granfors. There we see Harrison in the number 38, yellow with white helmet, then the red and white and green helmeted Fortec Motorsport car in second place of Granfors and Pomoski, as now Luzio looks up the inside of Wilson, has a look but doesn't get the move done. So it is Harrison from Granfors, Pomoski, then Burgoyne, Wilson, Luzio, Grant, Baxter, John Areen.
He's done him. He went wide.
And Templeton in the top 10. And yes, so that is Luzio making another position. So lots of moves in this first lap. Oh, Chloe Grant looking up the inside of Wilson as well, but having to back out. And now Chloe Grant's going to be under pressure from the number 45 of Baxter. This is a real ding-dong fight for the lower place inside the top 10. Defensive goes Wilson.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, all testing, we've seen everyone has been extremely close. Granfors has had a little bit of an edge, and they're side by side through Abbey. That's fantastic from both of them.
What a move. Chloe Grant around the outside, kept her foot in, but was given enough space. There's going to be contact at the apex. No, not quite. That was so close between Wilson and Grant, and now Baxter's getting involved as well.
that was really, really good racing from both of them. That was really good awareness from Chloe as well there, to see him, and I was expecting her to get spun around there after the amazing work she did through Abby. So that was really, really good of her to notice, give him the space and still hold the position.
Such great respectful racing, close, hard but fair, and now back up the inside goes Wilson. Is there going to be contact this time? No, there is not. Chloe Grant gives space, so this is really, really good to see drivers racing close and hard, but giving each other just enough room to keep going, and this is going to go on, I reckon. But also, I was just noticing in the front of shot, and the bottom of the shot that you may have seen down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, that the gap at the front has definitely come down the second half of this lap, as Parmoski also sets the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. So the front three are certainly coming together, but we'll stay with this battle while it rages on.
Yeah, this is brilliant. As I was saying before that battling kicked off, everyone from, you know, really second, really the lead, down to about almost the whole grid have been extremely close in testing, and every single testing has been a completely different order because of how close it's been. And I think we're seeing that now with this battling.
Yeah, that's Wilson going wide on the exit of Chapel, so he's going to be under pressure from Chloe Grant once again. Wilson in the number 27, dark blue with the white stripe on the front, black helmet, and then Chloe Grant now looking at the inside, the number 66 car in grey and blue. Doesn't quite get it done this time, but Wilson goes wide. He's on the marbles. He's going to run wide on the exit. He has run wide once again, so coming back onto the circuit, and again very, very close between all three of these drivers. Baxter around the outside into Vale. He's going to have the inside for Club, but no, Wilson squeezes him. That's allowed Chloe Grant to pull away. Still side by side we go, round past the wing, and that's also allowing the Fox Motorsport car number 24 and Brandon Templeton with the orange wing to get involved in this as well. So now Templeton has an overlap, but he's going to back off on the entry of the flat-out right-hander. That now leaves the order as Grant, then it is the 45 of Baxter, but Leon Wilson is now going to change and got the inside of the village. That's a great move from Wilson, so he's up and down like a yo-yo. Now Brandon Templeton's looking at the inside, but Baxter's holding around the outside, and Brandon McCacken goes around the outside of one, nearly two drivers as well. This is a five-way fight as we have a battle for the lead as well. Max, I can't keep up.
This is just incredible. I mean, this is great seeing the top two battle, but I want to see what happened behind. What are they all still together? There was looked like it was going to have a four-wide moment down the back straight.
Yeah, that was a great move from Brandon McCacken, actually managing to get around the outside of the number 50 of Taylor, was it? Or was it Dion Arena? It's Dion Arena. Yeah, again, so many cars moving. Now, proper fight for the lead now we have. Harrison defending into Cops, good defense. Granfer's forced him to the inside. Now Granfer's got a good exit. He's going to be pushing to get past Finn Harrison on the inside at the Maggots and Beckett's. We're going side by side. Granfers is going to go around the outside. Can Finn Harrison keep his wheels alongside? No, not quite. But Harrison is now going to have a better exit. Looking around the outside of Chapel, you're not going to do it there, son, I don't think, unless you're given a lot of room. But we're still nose to tail for the lead. The lead has changed. It is now Granfers leading in the number 16 red and white Fortec car, but Finn Harrison staying right in the slipstream. And look, in the back of shot, the other yellow car, the second of the elite cars, Parmoski, is going to be licking her lips, trying to get involved in this, as around the outside goes Finn Harrison, but goes off the circuit, leaves the racing circuit. So I don't think that position is going to be able to be held, because he did leave the circuit, but that remains to be seen. Harrison back in the lead, Granfers second, Parmoski closing in third place as well. The two elite motorsport cars in yellow are very easy to spot, as defensive once again goes Harrison. Granfers looking around the outside. Can she repeat what Chloe Grant did a lap ago? No, backs off, and that is going to definitely bring Parmoski into this battle. She is right there. Now it is Granfers under pressure from Parmoski. Can Parmoski make a move and make it an elite 1-2? Parmoski is the number 60. No, not the number 16. Parmoski is in the second of the yellow cars. She is the number 21, as you can see in shot now. So this has allowed Harrison a bit of breathing room, although I think if Parmoski backs off a little bit, we might have a three-way fight for the lead once again.
This could become a five-way fight. I mean, when you look at the times, Burgoyne set the fastest lap on the previous lap with all this battling. They're still all attacking. Oh, she stuck it in.
No.
He's held it. Granville's held it.
Whoa, big swapper on the middle of the corner as well as we go through Brooklands there. Parmoski had a look on the inside on the entry, but realised it was too late, so just backed off. Grampus then managed to get a good run through Brooklands, is now putting the pressure back on our original race leader, who is Finn Harrison, now on the outside, as this battle in the bottom end of the top 10 still goes on as Templeton looks around the outside of Wilson. Looks like he's going to get it done. Can Grampus go around the outside for the lead though? No, but it's allowing the third place driver, Alicia Parmoski, in the second of the yellow cars, to have a look. No, not this time. Side by side once again. And it is Linus Granfors manages to get alongside and ahead through Maggots and Beckett's for the second time this race. And this time I think he's going to hold on to it. Now Pomoski is on the back of her teammate. Pomoski in the 21. Harrison in the 38. Pomoski alongside, and the right of shot now in the second of the yellow cars. It looks like Finn Harrison actually has a bit of straight line deficiency compared to the cars around him.
I think it depends on the toe. I mean, Granfors looked like he was deciding who he wanted to give the toe to there. He was basically saying, oh, I want them to keep battling, so I don't want one to pull ahead of the other. So he was just mixing it up.
But this battle is growing because Granfors is now pulling away ever so slightly at the front of the field. And look who's right behind the two yellow cars. That is the number 68 of Harry Burgoyne Jr. for KMR Sport, and closely followed by Marcus Lizio. Marcus Lizio, the privateer in association with Hill Speed, has come from lower down on the grid and is now fighting for a top 5, which could potentially turn into a podium and set the fastest lap on the last lap.
Yeah, this is terrifying. I've got the driver I'm working with now and the driver I worked with last year close together. It's like, come on, boys, let's get a move on. Keep moving through the pack.
Tell you what, this is an absolutely incredible drive from Marcus Lizio as he's going to look up the inside into the loop. No, doesn't do this. He qualified 11th on the grid and is now up into P5 fighting for P4. What a drive from Marcus.
Yeah, to be fair to Marcus, I think his pace didn't really show in qualifying. And look, he's already on the attack of Harry. I say his pace didn't really show in qualifying. And now he's showing it here in a great display. And he's done it already. He's passed.
Using the toe from the drivers ahead. Burgoyne went defensive, but that actually meant that the slipstream was available for Lizio to take, and he's now up into 4th position. So that means that he's plus 7 places. What a drive so far, and it could even be more if he can get in the slipstream of our leading 3 drivers. Right, Max, let's just settle down for a sec. Let's take stock. So, over the line. Yeah, over the line, Granfors. From Pomoski, from Harrison, from Lizio, from Burgoyne. That is our top 5 as it stands. I think it will certainly change once again. The fastest lap of the race on that last lap was actually set by Brandon McCachen, who's down in 7th. So who knows, maybe they could even get involved in this if the front 5 keep fighting. Gap's a little bit too big, I think, because our 6th place driver, Chloe Grant, is 4 seconds back from this top 5 fight, and McCachen 2.7 down from Grant. So I think it is going to stay at the top 5 battle for now, but there you say that. Chloe Grant stood in the same shot, and there's McCachen right at the back of shot by the clock in 7th place. So it's still all to play for. 6 minutes 50 seconds, so another 4 or 5 laps depending on how we fall. Granfors is going to be relieved that the fighting between the 2 yellow elite cars allowed him a bit of a breakaway because he's the gap's at 1.1 seconds, so just breaking the toe. Would you say the toe's probably what, like 6 or 7 tenths around here, Max?
Yeah, about. Really, even from a second, you'll get a mild benefit, but not enough it's going to do anything. About 7 tenths is when you'll really start to feel yourself getting pulled in behind the car, but in front.
Talking about the toe, we are now seeing Lizio in that all dark blue car, the number 11, closing on the back of Finn Harrison. Of course, Harrison set pole position in the tricky wet conditions, but on slick tyres, it seems the pace advantage he had in the wet conditions is not quite there. Lizio is the closest of this 4 to make a move as it stands. He's right in the toe, but of course Harrison will also have a toe from Pomoski ahead, his teammate. Yeah, it looks like the toe has been broken by Linus Granfors at the front of the field. He set purple middle sectors, but Lizio right on the back of Finn Harrison. I can tell that you've got a vested interest in Lizio doing well here, Max. He's driving an excellent race. Can he get on the podium?
I think he can. If he's driven, as well as he's driven for the rest of the race, he can do this. But we just saw how good Finn Harrison was at defending.
Yes.
So this isn't going to be easy.
Oh, the number 9. That's I think that's Megan Bruce having a look up the inside of the number 17 of Jack Taylor, and there was unfortunately Megan just losing it in the middle of the corner. Max, I actually looked down right at the point in the middle of the corner. Was there contact?
It looked like there was a slight touch between the 2 of them, unfortunately, and it just pivoted her around.
Yeah, just a bit of a racing incident there by the looks of it, but unfortunately Megan Bruce spinning out of that position, but should be able to get going once again and rejoin the race. But we turn our attentions back to this fight for the final podium position. Going wide on the exit of Chapel is Finn Harrison. That is certainly going to hamper his exit speed. And now Lizio, you can see at the bottom of the screen, he's been fast for the last 3 laps. Lizio looking around the outside, using the toe from Pomoski ahead. Can he go all the way around the outside of Stowe? No, Harrison brakes later, covers off the inside line. Lizio is going to have to find a way through at a different corner. He's going to force Harrison to go defensive. No, he's not. Harrison does not defend the inside, so Lizio goes up the inside. This is side-by-side action at its best in the GB4 Championship. Lizio still on the outside, is going to get squeezed wide, and definitely chooses the right thing to do there by lifting off Great racing for the final podium positions. An overlap up the inside now for Luzio. That's almost certainly going to be it done. No, actually Harrison's got a good exit out of club and is managing to hold on to this position. Harrison defending excellently at this stage of the race.
Yeah, exactly, and he could back everyone up again. Look, Burgoyne suddenly closing back in again, so Lutzio's got to make this move done very quickly to make sure that suddenly Burgoyne doesn't become a third party in this.
Yeah, Luzio will want to try and clear Harrison before Burgoyne gets involved, otherwise Luzio is going to find himself in that awkward position where you have to attack and defend at the same time, and around a circuit like Silverstone, so hard with the toe. But you see Luzio tucking right in behind. Harrison knows that and defends. Oh, Harrison gives him just enough space. Luzio up the inside of Brooklands. Can he make it stick? No, Harrison holds it around the outside of Brooklands, which will give him the inside for Luffield, but I think Luzio is going to look for a cutback here unless he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. No, cutback it is. Slots in behind once again. Can he get the toe down towards Kopp's corner now? He's looking to the outside. Harrison already choosing to defend the inside line. It's going to be hard for Luzio to go around Kopp's. It's not really a corner you can do that unless you can get fully ahead by the apex. No, not quite this time. Harrison again defending very, very well. This is good, hard racing, but very clean so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Side by side once again into Maggers and Beckett's, and around the outside goes Marcus Luzio. Can he get it done? No, he can't. We're still side by side. Yes, he can. Luzio is through third place. Oh, and now a swap of oversteer in the middle of Chapel after going wide allows Harrison along the outside. Once again, we're side by side onto the hanger straight, and Harry Burgoyne Jr. is looking to get involved in this. Still side by side. Still side by side. Can Luzio get ahead? He squeezes, he squeezes. He is finally ahead, but is he done? Harrison now looking around the outside of Stowe. He's going to get squeezed, but Lucio's giving him space. Max, can they just decide their position already?
It's too stressful. It's too stressful watching this.
Oh my goodness.
It's incredible that they're still side by... That's almost a whole lap, isn't it, of side-by-side action between these two?
Yeah, they tried against Stowe last lap out, and they've been side by side, chopping and changing. Great racing. I thought Luzio had it done, but he had a swapper through Chapel. Once again, we've got an overlap going over the other start-finish straight by the wing. Up the inside, Luzio gets the move done once again, but can he keep it? He's done it twice now. Can he keep it for the third time? Defending into Village. Harrison looks to the outside. If he can go around the outside, it'll put him on the inside of the loop. No, Luzio covers that off well, but that's going to allow Harrison, as Burgoyne shows his nose, just about avoiding contact. That's going to give him a poor exit, but Harrison in the yellow elite car has got a good exit back in the slipstream. Roles reversed from the lap before. Last time it was Harrison ahead, Luzio in the slipstream. Now it's Luzio ahead in the 11 blue car with Harrison in the slipstream. Holds it off just enough this time. I think that may be the position done for now for Luzio, as Harrison just drops back a little bit through the middle of Luffield and has a little bit of an oversteer moment. So therefore, Luzio, for now, takes third place.
For now, and in the background, look, it's a KMR line, but all backing up, all getting there. Chloe Grant is now right on the back of Burgoyne, and
Brandon McCacken.
Yeah, he's right there as well. Like, this is so close, so close. This is amazing racing from GB4. I mean, it's just so. I'm missing it. I don't know about you, Piers. I want to get out there with them.
Hey.
It is the best fun.
Hey, if there's a couple of spare cars and a few bob going spare, then we'd be on the grid as well, Max. But anyway, we're commentating in the box and we're loving it regardless. This KMR Sport fight is going on as well. As you mentioned, Max, we have a KMR Sport drivers in 5th, 6th and 7th, and the fastest of that that second group is McCacken in 7th place, a 2 minutes 1.9. As we can see, Chloe Grant now in the slipstream, looking around the outside of Burgoyne. Can she get that move done? I don't think Burgoyne's going to allow Chloe Grant to go around the outside of Stowe Corner this time, but he's going to have to defend once again, as we see Granfus. Fastest lap of the race at 2:01.1, so romping away at the front of the field. But we'll stay with this battle between the two KMR Sport drivers. The yellow and blue helmeted number 68 is Burgoyne, the sort of blue and white helmet of the number 66 of Chloe Grant, attacking in the outside once again, and in the back of shot, the orange helmet in the blue and grey car is McCacken. So this is going to be a three-way fight between the KMR Sport drivers. Chloe Grant couldn't get through at the start of this lap. Now McCacken is going to get involved. He is the fastest of these three at this stage in the race. Is he going to look up the inside of the loop? No, he has a small lock-up and looks to get a good exit. Chloe Grant had a little bit of a wiggle through the middle of the loop, which is meaning that she is now off the back of Burgoyne and is now going to be under pressure from McCacken into this next stage of the race. Looks like Luzio is pulled away from Harrison. Now Chloe Grant looks up the inside of Brooklands and McCacken looks around the outside. This is the last lap as Linus Grandforce goes over the line to take victory in round 4 of the GB4 Championship, but there's positions still to be decided lower down the order. Let's cut back to those, hopefully, so we can see who's going to come across the line. It is Parmowski in second place, a good result for her, and Marcus Luzio for Luzio.com Racing in association with Hillspeed takes third. Our pole sitter Harrison fourth, Burgoyne fifth. It was Chloe Grant Burgoyne fifth, McCacken sixth, Chloe Grant seventh, who managed to get ahead of Grant, and Templeton in 8th, Baxter 9th, Taylor 10th, Wilson's 11th, Leicester will come home in 12th, and Dionarine in 13th. Wow, Max. I think I was about as out of breath during that race as the drivers were, as we see Christian Leicester coming across the line just ahead of Dionarine. Wow, that was a great race. I knew it was going to be a good one. We always have good racing around here, but ultimately the fastest driver in the race won the race. Linus Granfus for Tech Motorsport. Good drive from him. He also set the fastest lap on that last lap, a 2 minutes 0.8. Only 1/10 away from the outright lap record, so great pace from him.
Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. I mean, I think the best race, even in GB4, when we have fantastic racing around here, one of the best ones I think, again, we've had here. It just incredible. I mean, the racing at Alton Park was amazing. Racing here again, amazing. And, you know, I'm like speechless. It was just so good. It was such a good race. I mean, I have no clue what the championship's going to be like now in terms of that order.
No, we'll run through that very shortly, but I would say, you know, the most impressive thing for me, Max, is this series, the GB4 Championship, is supposed to be an entry point for drivers either into car racing or into single-seater slicks and wings racing. A lot of these drivers don't have a lot of racing experience. Some of them do, some of them don't. But the racing throughout that race was incredible. But there was almost no contact. Pretty much everyone made it through. I think the only contact we saw was between Megan Bruce and was it Callum Baxter, which was a racing incident. And unfortunately, Megan just had a little spin, but everyone else, the chopping and changing, no contact side to side, no contact front to rear. Everyone defended well, but gave each other enough room. It was great, respectful racing. And Rob Buff, the driving standards official and steward, will probably be congratulating the drivers on what was an excellent race. And, you know, this is how single-seater racing should be.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of reminds you of like the single-seater racing of old as well, with the slipstream effect, the battling there. It was just incredible. When people say, oh, because they're dirty, you can't race. Well, clearly in GP4 you can. Clearly you can.
Although, you know, racing close is harder if you're romping away at the front of the field like Linus Granfus did. A great drive from him. Alicia Parmowski will be very, very happy to come home in second place after qualifying lower than she potentially would have wanted. And a great result from 11th on the grid. Marcus Luzio, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing from him when Chris chats to him in a moment's time, because, you know, what a drive from him, effectively to start the season as a privateer. Still, you know, his dad working on the car. It is still his dad working on the car, isn't it?
His dad, but yeah, he also does have help with, let's say, the Hill Speed guys. They are helping out and, you know, helping out with setup. With, I would say, I can show him my data from a couple of years ago, and I've been working with coaching him, and he's a really, really good kid. You know, that's someone who's a little bit special there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there we go, Linus Granfus celebrating with the rest of the team. Of course, Linus's brother Joel took Luke Browning right to the wire to try and in GB3 to come home eventually in second closely in 2022. But Linus clearly very fast as well. Took the win. Fastest lap, and edges ever closer to the lead of the championship. And there it is, the Marcus being celebrating with his team. He'll be very, very happy with that. Max will get the lowdown on how that went down inside his helmet with you later on. It'll be good to hear from him. But let's very shortly head down to Chris McCarthy, who's going to grab a word with our top 3 position drivers in the first GB4 race of this week.
Thank you very much, Piers. Yes, we've got our winner, Linus Granfus. First of all, what a race. That was one of the best GB4 races I think I've ever seen. But the man who charged away in the end to take the win, his second win of the season, winning by over 5 seconds, Linus Granfus, congratulations. You had to fight hard for that one, though.
Yeah, it was a good race. Like, it was a lot of fighting to pass Harrison. And then I got a little gap, and then I saw that the other elite passed him as well, so then I just started to push and trying to set quality laps.
Tell us about the move eventually to take the lead. You had to work really hard to get it, didn't you?
Yeah, the first time into Maggots and Beckett's, I passed him, but then I got a bad exit to the straight, so then he just passed me again, and he did a huge off track out of stow, but then I tried to do the same again, but then I got a better exit, so then I could pass it.
You turned into a five-way fight for the lead. It looked like great fun out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Then I saw that when the other leads started to catch up, it was just trying to not get past and just to pass Harrison as well. So yeah, it was fun.
Linus, congratulations, your second win of the season. A brilliant start to the champion.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done. Linus Grand Force, 2 more races coming tomorrow, of course. Absolutely superb. Let's go to Alicia Karmovsky. Hello. Just in time. A second podium. That was some superb driving out there. I'm going to spin round. I tell you what, I'm going to come round this way. I'm going to come round this way. Alicia Karmovsky, wow, that was good fun.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously starting on the second row of the grid, starting in 4th position. It was a decent qualifying, but obviously raining conditions, so very different track conditions there in that race. The aim was the podium, since I've been struggling a little bit this weekend with the car setup. We've had quite an oversteery car, so I've been lacking confidence a little bit, but full credit to Elite Motorsport. They've helped me so much in getting the car to where it is now, so much happy within the car, and great to come away with the 2nd position, so good championship points.
And the fight for the podium positions as well. I mean, we were side by side through Maggots and Beckett, side by side going into Vale, side by side coming through Brooklands and Luffield. I mean, tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a crazy start, to be honest. I had quite a good launch off the line, and I was trying to get Leon into 3rd position, but didn't quite manage to get there, so that actually compromised myself on the entry towards Maggots and Beckett, so that allowed Harry, I think, to get past me. And then, to be honest, going into Stowe, I didn't expect to go for that move, but I actually locked up, so I thought, I've got no choice now other than to send it up the inside. So I did, and managed to make the move stick. So yeah, quite a relief coming out of that bend. My heart rate went up a little bit, so pleased that we kept the car in one piece there.
We've announced a prize for the Ginetta Junior champion coming into the series this year. I imagine you were channeling your inner Ginetta Junior in that race.
Absolutely, that first few laps, it was not much different, to be honest. But no, it's a great prize for the Ginetta Junior champion. I mean, Ginetta Juniors is full credit to them. That's where I've sort of learnt all my car control, and it's really helped me get to grips with the single-seater really quickly. So fantastic championship, and great to learn and build the foundation of a driver as they move on further in their career.
Very well said. Congratulations, second podium of the season. I'm sure not the last at all. Alicia Karmovsky. We have some history made. We have a privateer on the podium as well. In this man here, Marcus Luzio, someone I remember from the karting days. Marcus, congratulations. Coming from 11th on the grid to finish on the podium. I can see you're emotional from it as well. That was absolutely superb. Tell us, first of all, how it feels to be on the podium. I know you run as a privateer, just yourself, dad and lad. That must feel superb.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely amazing, to be honest. You know, we made the late decision to join GB4 this year, and it just proves that it really has paid off. You know, getting podiums, especially from that far back in the grid. You know, I was a bit disappointed by quali being 11th, as we had the pace yesterday in practice. So, yeah, being 11th was a bit disheartening, but it just shows that we have the pace to be up at the front, so we can just move on.
And you had the whole media centre making a lot of noise when you eventually took 3rd at Abbey. Talk us through that lap, because you were side by side for almost an entire lap at Silverstone, and that's a long lap. Tell us how it felt to be in the car for that.
Yeah, it was a great battle with Finlay Harrison. Yeah, there was a few touch and go moments where, I'm still in shock, to be honest. It was a big lap to be side by side. You know, we were side by side for a lot of it, and he raced really clean and fair, which I have to thank him for. But yeah, getting the move by the end of it was really, really good.
I'm sure we will speak to you more in detail about it, but Marcus, I'm going to just ask you, who would you like to thank for this?
My dad for primarily getting me on the grid. You know, yeah, running under the banner Luzio.com, and yeah, being here is amazing. And Max Maserati, for all the coaching he's done this weekend, and all the guys at Hill Speed for helping us out with other bits and bobs. You know, it's been amazing from everyone, and my mum, of course, just for being around.
Very well said. Congratulations, you've made some history. Very well said, and you did it in absolute style. Well done, well done. We're going to wrap up there because these guys are going to go up onto that podium there. Whilst they're getting ready, I'm going to head back to Piers to reflect on what was an absolutely superb GB4 race, where we had a record entry and some history made.
A superb race indeed it was. That was excellent to be able to call in the commentary box. Hopefully you all enjoyed that at home. More to come tomorrow, of course. 2 more races tomorrow with potentially some changeable conditions, but great to get the initial reaction from the drivers in the top 3 there. You can see Max Maserati, my co-commentator, down on the bottom left-hand side of the screen there, chatting to the drivers here. No, he was keen to rush off and chat to Marcus, and you heard that, of course, Marcus Lizio got 3rd place. Has been helped by Max this weekend, so great to have Max in the commentary box. Thank you to Max once again. Always good to have him alongside myself. But let's turn our attention to the podium ceremony itself. Of course, the drivers will be receiving the trophies and some bubbly, which they probably won't spray. But there it is, Marcus Lizio, 3rd place from 11th on the grid as a privateer. What an absolute legend he is for doing that, making history. Alicia Palmowski in 2nd place for the Elite Motorsport team, and our eventual race winner, Linus Granfors, only 1/10 away from the lap record in the end, taking the win. You know, it was a 2 minutes 0.8. The lap record currently held by Tom Mills from last season, of 2 minutes 0.7. There you go. Marcus Lizio raises his 3rd place trophy aloft. Alicia Palmowski will raise that 2nd place trophy. She's had a good start to the season, winning round 1, of course, in the top 5 in round 2. Unfortunately retired from race 3 at Alton Park. And Linus Granfors taking another win, he won round 3, so 2 back-to-back wins for Linus Granfors in the GB4 Championship now. A great result for the Swede. We're going to run through very shortly the highlights of that race, and of which there will be many. Cutting back to the start, it was a good start from our pole sitter, Finn Harrison. A slow start for Liam Wilson on the outside of the front row. Brandon McCacken actually stalled on the grid. I completely forgot about that. So he had a good race through the field to get back inside the top 10, but there was plenty of moving and shaking on the first lap as we all tried to sort out positions. First 2 pulled away at the start. It was across the tarmac was Harry Burgoyne Jr. Came back ahead of Alicia Palmowski, and then Alicia, we heard from her just a moment ago, locked up into Stowe and ended up accidentally taking the position, and then the battle of all battles ensued between Leon Wilson and Alicia Palmowski and all of the KMR team. That battle raged on for a while. Then we had 4x4 racing. I can't even remember who came out where in this point of the race, but it was a great move around the outside as Brandon McCacken made his way back through the field. Leon Wilson unfortunately falling down the grid, not quite having the pace that he showed in qualifying. Then it was Linus Granfors that made his way through to the lead of the race, and then the 2 elite yellow cars started fighting it out as well for the final podium places, and that allowed also the KMR Sport drivers to pull back on. But also Marcus Lizio made his way up from 11th place on the grid to find his way through, and eventually got past Finn Harrison, eventually after basically a 3 or 4 lap long battle, made his way through and was ultimately in 3rd place. But once he got in the lead, he did not look back, set blistering pace, and it was Linus Granfors for Fortec Motorsport that won the race. And in 2nd place, you can see him there, you know, Linus Granfors, the number 16, very distinctive helmet. We know how successful Fortec have been in the past, winning the championship of 2022 with Nick Taylor. Let's have a look at the provisional results as they stand after that race. From Silverstone round 4, it was Linus Granfors for Fortec Motorsport that just took the win by 7 seconds in the end. Great pace from him. From Alicia Palmowski and Marcus Lizio. Then it was Harrison, Burgoyne, McCacken, Grant with 3 KMR Sport drivers in a row there. Then Brandon Templeton, Callum Baxter and Jack Taylor rounding out the top 10. Then 11th was Wilson, unfortunately falling down from his from good qualifying position. Then Christian Lester, Dion Areen, Megan Bruce, Visser, and then Dan Hickey falling a lap behind. Potentially, I think Hickey has a hand injury, so maybe that had a role to play in him falling down the order. But what a race. Great start to the season, and it leaves the championship looking a little like this. We'll update that in a moment, because currently Chloe Grant has more points than she can potentially have over the whole season. But it closes up at the front of the field. Harry Burgoyne Jr. came into this round as race leader on 82 points, closely followed by Linus Granfors, who was on 62. So Linus will close that gap, taking the win, and of course Burgoyne was down a bit further down the order. Brandon McCacken will fall a bit further back. He was in 3rd going into this round. Let's head down and grab a word with, or let's hear from some of the other drivers slightly further down the field with Chris McCarthy, who is down in the paddock right now.
Yeah, welcome down to the paddock. Everyone just making their way down to paddock after what was a thrilling race. I mean, one was a joint record entry. I think quite fitting that turned into one of the best GB4 races I think I have ever seen. We had five-way battle for the lead, side by side through pretty much every single corner on the track, side by side for an entire lap as well. The media centre was making a lot of noise. It was like being in a grandstand watching watching a football match or something like that. It was absolutely fantastic. It was really, really superb atmosphere in there. I'm sure the grandstand was making a lot of noise as well. We're going to get some drivers in if you're wondering why we're down here now. So on this, this is where we come to basically to get the drivers down. We've got Naomi Newman, who's going to be getting some news for us after the race as well, so you can catch those on the socials, and she's going to be joining us tomorrow morning as well to give us an update as to what's been going on in the GB3 and GB4 paddock as well. So I'm sure we're going to be finding some drivers very, very shortly. I believe we've got Harry Burgoyne Jr. On the way shortly as well, and then we will catch up with him, but the teams are just making their way back now after that race. Coming up for tomorrow, let's just give you an update as to what's going to be going on then. So we've got 2 more races in each class, GB4 Championship round 5 and round 6, and then we have the GB3 Championship round 5 and 6, possibly wet conditions as well. Running up to me as quickly as they were going on the circuit, we have Brandon McCacken and Harry Burgoyne Jr. Jump in, guys. Let's get you both in to have a chat, because stalled on the grid, but then charged back through as quickly as you just ran up the paddock there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, done a good job in the warm-up lap. Too good of a job. Just stalled off the line. Helped the clutch too early. Gripped up, stalled. Couldn't get the car going again. Had to go through neutral and off and on all that, Craig. So, yeah, got it going. They were saying about 10 seconds off the back of the field, and then just, yeah, driving with a bit of red mist maybe. Car felt mega. Came back up through them. Just anytime a chance came up to get past, dove at it. Yeah, and then towards the end of the race, I was gradually closing on Chloe, and then obviously her and Harry started battling. It just came to Brooklands in the last lap, saw an opportunity around the outside and went for it. So, yeah, the car was great, really promising. I'm happy with how I drove after the stall. It's just a real pity. I think we could have been fighting for the win in that one, definitely.
Yeah, maybe a race of what could have been, but we could see you were absolutely lighting up the timing screens. Those races, I'm sure, can be enjoyable as well, where you're just firing through the field and making a lot of plays. Yeah,
it was fun. It was just, yeah, it was fun. Just still annoyed at myself with that start. It shouldn't have happened. But it's done. I did as best as I could to make up for it, and I'll just have to go out and prove what we've got tomorrow.
Let's talk tomorrow. Possibly wet conditions coming up tomorrow. How are we feeling ahead of that?
Fingers crossed, yeah. Qualifying was my first time around here in the wet, so, you know, obviously, at least now we have a bit of data. I know what I did wrong this morning. Like, I know where the time was, definitely. So, yeah, I'm feeling we're starting 8th tomorrow, so race 2, hoping to make up a lot more places.
You drove very, very well on that one. Thank you very much. We'll let you grab off. I think we are going to leave it there, unfortunately. Well, Harry, we'll catch up with you tomorrow, sir. But you put in an absolutely superb drive. In fact, Naomi Newman will be catching up with Harry, so you can catch that one on the socials. We're going to bring in the man who may have just about caught his breath back by now, Pierce.
Mate.
Come over a little bit, Pierce. Don't be shy. How are we feeling after that one?
Well, I ran from the dummy grid and just about caught my breath to start the show, and then I didn't get to catch it for the whole race. I mean, I couldn't keep up. But what a race. I loved being able to, you know, call that from the commentary box. Hopefully, you know, you watched it. It was enjoyable, and yeah, hopefully more of the same tomorrow.
It was absolutely superb, wasn't it? 5 for the lead. That's got to be one of the best GB4 races you've seen.
Oh, absolutely. But we always have good racing in GB4 around Silverstone. I remember, I think it was it last season or the season before, where Tom Mills went from 5th to 1st to 5th in one lap. So, yeah, we've seen it before. We're sure we'll see it again tomorrow. And, you know, even if the weather is a bit changeable, it always provides good racing anyway. So, yeah. Great start to the weekend. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, let's talk about tomorrow.
Yeah,
of course, 2 more races coming up for GB4. Possibly wet conditions, as we talked about there. Yeah. What are we expecting now? Of course, all the stuff we've done today could go out the window in terms of the setup work. Now we go to now we go to the wet.
Yeah, I mean, most of the drivers were testing for 2 days here this week, and there were some wet and dry sessions, so they'll have a bit of extra data and setup work that they can use to make the car suitable for the conditions. But again, yeah, if you throw in another variable, with changeable conditions, maybe some of the circuit wet and some of the circuit dry, like we've seen here at Silverstone before, that'll make things interesting. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how it goes.
That's all from Silverstone today. 2 more races coming up tomorrow. Be sure to join us here from Silverstone for rounds 5 and 6 of the GB4 Championship. It's going to be fantastic. Will we have more history made? You'll have to come and join us to find out more. From now, from myself and Piers, it's goodbye.